the story dropping about a speedball, which is fentanyl and methamphetamine mixed together, being found in the patrol car with Floyd's DNA on it, causation goes out the window. Now it's like, okay, what really caused the death of George Floyd? Because we have the medical examiner's statement, but what is the jury going to believe? Is there going to be reasonable doubt? So we get this tox report. It shows he had fentanyl, norfentanyl, methamphetamine in his system. And then the defense seems to be doing a pretty good job with the state. So you combine that with the state's own witness saying that Chauvin could have used a taser if he wanted to, but chose to use a lesser amount of force. I think intent is out the window.
Yeah, I think it's going really bad for the state. I don't think that they're doing a really good job at proving their case. The burden of proof is on them. It's not the defense. And people may think it's the defense, but it's not. And just because a police officer does something that's stupid, or maybe that other police officers wouldn't do, don't make it criminal. None of that matters. What matters is the law. What's on the books? What are his charges? And can the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that those charges are in effect? I don't think that they will. I think that Officer Chauvin did a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't do, but I don't think that there's any malice, any depraved mind, which is in the statute, of him trying to kill George Floyd outright.
So that's murder 2 and 3 gone.
Yeah,
but what about manslaughter?
Murder 2 and 3 gone. And the manslaughter charge is obviously with the intent or with negligence, or knowing that you're doing something that could cause the death of a person. So if he was kneeling on his neck with the knowledge that his unreasonable action will cause the death of George Floyd, then that's where they can get him at. Now,
they can't prove that, man.
I don't think that they can prove that. I don't think they've done a good job at proving that, because you can look at the video footage from today where they show the angle of his knee is facing towards the patrol vehicle, which would not be at the proper angle to be consistent with being across the neck of George Floyd. It's showing that it's maybe a part of his neck and on his upper shoulder area, which is how the maneuver is trained. I did the maneuver like that plenty of times. Never put the knee on the neck, but you do put it on the upper back. People think it's the neck.
Well, check it out. Even if this is what people don't understand. Even if you're trained to put the knee on the back in a heated situation with someone actively resisting, using their feet to kick, people surrounding you, screaming and threatening you, is it reasonable to say that someone might poorly execute the maneuver?
Well, well, I'll say this. I don't think this is the situation where, unless you're a trashy cop, that any of what happened should cause you to poorly produce any maneuver. I mean, George Floyd was pretty much subdued. He had 2 people on his back. Chauvin had pretty good control over him on the upper part of his body. He requested to be laid on the ground. I don't think George Floyd wanted to fight. He didn't want to go to jail.
Right.
He didn't want to get in the car. He'll say whatever he needs to. He was hoping that somehow he had a medical emergency where they'll take him to the hospital, and probably not in the back of the patrol car. That's why he was complaining and making all these claims. Therefore, it would necessitate them to call the ambulance and not take him to jail. And so I think that's what George Floyd was attempting to do. However, I've been in situations that were way more intense than what Chauvin was going through. Now, of course, I wasn't on the scene, so I don't know what he was feeling. I don't know the energy that was there. I don't know the effect of the people had on him, but it wasn't that crazy. I had people who were way crazier. I had dudes who were way stronger, who were actively lifting police officers up while they were on his back. He's on the ground, lifting them off their feet. Whoa. Because he was so high on drugs. Now, that's a situation where your knee may slide from the shoulders to the neck, and now you're in a position where you're probably fighting for your life, because if he happens to get up, he's going to hurt you. If you got 3 men can't hold him down, he's going to probably hurt you.
So this is what I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to say in any way to defend Chauvin. I'm just presenting a logical defense in terms of what the defense could be bringing up. Chauvin could just be a really bad cop, bad and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just, some people are good at basketball, some people are not good at basketball. You know what I mean? So right. Chauvin is in a situation where it's not that intense. For manslaughter, like you said, it's got to be negligence. Like you were doing something that could have reasonably caused harm, and then you killed somebody. But if Chauvin is trained in Brazilian jiu-jitsu or ground control techniques, and they're like, here's what you do, and then he goes, like this, it does it wrong. How can you argue that he was even trying to cause harm in any capacity? If he was trying to use a ground control maneuver that the cops are trained to do, and he's just not good at it, how do you get him on a crime?
Yes, you're 100% correct. I mean, they cannot expect that everyone's training, and they brought it out, the defense brought this out, that everyone's training is not 100% consistent. You have a little stick figure that's on a picture that shows a little bit about how you're supposed to do things. I did training. I train officers. Some officers train things a little differently, even in the same police department. They may be a little more aggressive and say, "Oh, it doesn't matter if the shin touches the base of the neck." Some officers say, "You better not touch his neck." Same department, same training staff, tells you a different story. Now, when you're in the heat of the moment, which the defense brought up, you can improvise. You may improvise. You may make mistakes. And the bottom line is that, did the mistake that he made cause the death of George Floyd? Because nobody cares if he made a mistake. Nobody cares if he's a crappy police officer. Nobody cares if he did the maneuver right or wrong. It doesn't matter. Because if he died from taking a bite out of a speedball, if he died from methamphetamine and fentanyl, he was actually dying from the moment he put it in his mouth, and he was just a ticking time bomb. Then none of what the prosecution is bringing forth is going to matter.
You saw what happened with Maurice Lester Hall, right?
Yes.
So he's the friend of George Floyd, who was supposed to testify for the state.
Plead the fifth.
He pleads the fifth, but more than that, his lawyer comes out and says he could incriminate himself in third-degree murder charges in the death of George Floyd. And it's like, what?
I was surprised.
The jury wasn't in there for that, though.
Yeah, okay, that's why. I was surprised she said that. I was like, you're making the case for why he should probably be charged.
Right.
You're saying that he shouldn't say anything that incriminates himself, but you are articulating an incriminable, a defense, or at least a
incriminable.
I made that up today. So
incriminable.
I don't know what word to use. An incriminating statement.
Incriminatable.
That y'all can use that now. You put it on the shirt.
Okay, cool.
Coined it.
So an incriminating statement that could raise questions. I don't understand why she would do that, but he was culpable in that situation, and I want people to understand that as well, and that's what the defense is bringing out. And the jury may not hear that statement, but they can see with their own eyes that us a lot of people that were culpable here. I mean, even the firefighters and even the medical staff and even the dispatcher, all of that leading to a delay in the firefighters getting there, possibly delaying George Floyd getting medical treatment. It's all these people are now slightly culpable. Yeah. So to put all of the blame on Chauvin, which is what they're trying to do, is not a really good strategy that's going to pass.